Ready? Okay, this whole thing here is going to be a muscle cell known as a muscle fiber. Thank you. And this covering is going to cover each individual muscle cell. So this connective tissue covering is going to be called endomysium. So this is going to be the endomysium. If we look, notice how the endomysium is outside of this area here, and this area is going to be the sarcolemma. It's basically the cell membrane of the muscle fiber. So you see these little holes here? The sarcolemma is going to have these tiny little holes here. These are basically going to be your transverse tubules that are going to be opening into that area. And if we follow that in, the red lines here are going to be the transverse tubules. Okay? They're going to be found in between two of these white lines, and these white lines are the terminal cisternae of this net area here, the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Good job. Okay, so because it's three things all together, it's called a triad. So when a muscle is going to do a particular activity, it's going to do that activity because it's going to have an axon that is going to stimulate the muscle to do something. So this here is going to be a neuromuscular axon. Okay, so it's going to come together here. This wrinkling here is going to be the sarcolemma, and this area is where you're going to have the neuromuscular junction, so where the nerve and the muscle come together. So these little yellow dots here are going to be the vesicles found inside of the neuron that's going to release the neurotransmitter that is going to be called acetylcholine. Okay? Acetylcholine is then going to attach to the sarcolemma, and that is going to stimulate the sarcoplasmic reticulum to release calcium. When calcium is released, it is going to attach to the thin fibers, and if we look at, this is a fibril. Okay, let me see if I can pull this off. Okay, this is a fibril being pulled out, and so in the fibrils you're going to have two types of myofibrils. You're going to have the thick, which is going to be the myosin, and the thin, which is going to be the actin. Okay, the thick are going to be anchored or stabilized by the M line right in the middle, and the thin are going to basically be stabilized by the Z line. Okay, so when the calcium is released, it's going to attach to areas on the thin filaments, on the actin, specifically known as troponin. It's a protein found inside the actin called troponin. Once that attaches, it'll pull another protein that is covering the active sites on actin called the tropomyosin. Once those are out of the way, then the thick fibers, the heads of the thick fibers, the myoglobin heads, will be able to attach to the active sites on the actin and start pulling towards the M line, causing a muscle contraction. So inside of the muscle cell, you will have other typical organelles, such as the mitochondria. And of course, we talked about the sarcoplasmic reticulum. The unique thing about this muscle cell is that it's also going to have this outside nucleus, not just the inside ones, but a nucleus that's found outside of the sarcolemma. And this is going to be a specific cell that is called the myosatellite cell. And that's going to be the stem cell for the muscle cell. And that is all she wrote.